Finally, Magic Moment has come up with another mind-blowing action movie explanation. Here too, you are going to get explanations of all the horror, thriller, and action commando movies that are full of violence and bloodshed. The movie that I have brought for you today does not need any intro. Jason Statham means full of exciting action and tough thrillers. Along with this, today there are the most superstars in the world in the same movie, so you can understand what level of fun today's explanation is going to be. The name of the movie is Expendable 1. Since the channel is brand new, I request everyone to subscribe and stay by your side. So come on, let's close the patch and start today's explanation. At the beginning of the movie, we see a cargo ship in the middle of the sea late at night. And inside the ship we see some pirate gangs taking the crew on that ship as hostages. At the same time, they have taken control of the entire ship. From that ship, the pirate leader informed through, if they are not given $3 million within 24 hours, no one from the crew will be alive. Along with that, they will destroy this ship and leave from there. After 30 minutes of this incident, a red laser came and pointed at the chests of all the pirates. They understood that the army or navy might have come nearby. Now it was seen that several people were pointing at them from the top of the ship's cabinet with a deadly laser gun. Now, who are they? Where did they come from? And what is their identity or what? I will tell you a little later. First, see how deadly they really are, and what did they do to these pirates? One of the team threw down the money bag and asked everyone who was hostage to release them. However, the pirate leader said, if you can give 3 million, then you can also give 2 million more. They simply asked for 5 million from this commando team. Now, after hearing this, the team leader said, okay, you will be given all the money, first release the ship's crew. But the pirate leader did not agree to release them without money. In the midst of all this, there was another member of the commando team, and without any words, he fired a grenade launcher at the pirate leader. He completely killed him with that fire. In this incident, the rest of the team also started shooting at the pirates. In just a few seconds, they killed all the pirates in turn. However, another group on the other side of the ship came and captured the ship's crew again, and they wanted the previous 3 million back. And if they wanted to do more tricks, they threatened to behead the crew in one fell swoop. But this time, one of the team said, I will not give them any money. He gestured to the other. You will overtake the two behind, and I will eat the ones in front together. Saying this, the 5 of them together fired at them, and lay everyone down together, and they are able to rescue the entire ship and the crew safely. However, the grenade launcher member of this team is able to catch a pirate alive. Now he wants to hang that pirate. This man is the most dangerous man in this team. However, the team leader forbids him from doing this, because this is against their rules. But he does not listen to anything he says. So another member of the team goes to stop him. However, he kills him too, and holds a knife to his throat. Now to stop this, the team leader himself comes up and points a gun at that man's head, and forbids him from doing this. At the same time, he gives him a final warning. As a result, he is forced to release his team members, and they all return safely from that ship. Now let's find out who they really are, and what their identity is. They are a total of 5 people. It is said that all of them are deadly assassins. You can say that no one is less than anyone. But even though they are assassins, they only do good deeds in exchange for money, who introduce themselves as Expendables. The leader of this team is named Bernie Rose. The most super assassin of this team is Lee Christmas, who never misses a shot or target. In addition, 2 other members are Yang and Chessa, and the most stubborn member of this team is named Gunner, who does everything according to his own will. This is the introduction of this entire expendable team. Now let's see which mission they are going to embark on next time. After rescuing the ship, when they were returning to their camp, the team leader Bernie and the stubborn pirate were seen tied up in the plane. However, Lee arrives there, and like this time, he unties his hands. At the same time, he makes him promise not to break the rules of their group for the second time. However, Gunner doesn't answer Lee's words. Instead, we see a fire of anger in him. He might be about to do something terrible to his team in the future. However, after everyone returns after completing this mission, Lee goes straight to his girlfriend's house. But the funny thing is, she was his girlfriend, married with another guy. As a result, while they were making love outside, his girlfriend's husband came out of the room and strangled them both. Lee was completely shocked to see this act. However, he left without saying anything to his girlfriend and joined their chat. Here we see a tattooist named Sam. Originally, this guy named Sam used to find work for this assassin group, and he himself was once a member of this team. However, he is now married and has left this team due to fear of his wife's rule. However, Sam said that this time a big party has come with a new mission. However, this mission was very dangerous. So I turned him away. If you want to take this mission, you have to find work from the client yourself. Hearing this, Lee said, "Hey, we don't say no to any mission." He tells his leader, "Boss, you finalize the deal. I will take care of the rest on the playground." As Lee said, Barney goes to the client. This man's name is Mr. Cause. When Barney asks about the mission, Mr. Cause says, "Wait, another one will come. I will give this mission to the one I think is more powerful between the two." A little later, another assassin comes, named Strange. Keep a note of this guy. He will be useful in the upcoming episodes. Anyway, seeing Barney here, Strange says, "I am not interested on these small missions." So he tells Barney's team to give this mission to Barney, and leaves from there. Now Barney starts listening to the details of the entire mission from him. Mr. Cause says, on an island called Vilma, a ruler has crossed the line of injustice and oppression against the common people of his kingdom. So I want your assassin team to end the regime of that ruler. But if you want to fight against this ruler, then first you have to fight with his 500 armed army. Because this army always gives him protection. After hearing the full story of the mission, Bernie said that for this mission their entire team will have to pay a total of $500 million. Mr. Cause agreed in one word, leaving no bargaining. He even said that he would give 50% advance. After understanding the complete plan of the mission, Bernie started discussing this mission with all his team. Here everyone said that how can they fight with 500 armed army with only 5 people? It is not possible in any way. So everyone said that this mission should be cancelled. But Lee came and said, "I will show how it can be done." He said, "We are the most dangerous assassins in the world. Our job is to bait people. It is not a matter of looking at who is standing in front." He said that where strength does not work, intelligence has to be used first. He told them a plan. They will go to that island in disguise, and make a complete roadmap of how those armies will protect their king. They will also measure the movements of all the armies. Then, seizing the opportunity, they will capture everyone one by one and kill them. Lee's idea is liked by everyone in the team. So Barney tells everyone to get ready for this mission. There is such an important meeting here, but Gunnar, another member of their team, was not there. When Barney was returning after the meeting, Gunnar comes in front of him, and he tells Barney, "Boss, I know you are going on a mission. Please take me with you. I promise, I will not do anything wrong on this mission." He says that he needs a lot of money for his daughter's treatment, so he keeps requesting to take him on this mission. However, Barney leaves him from this mission, without listening to Gunnar. Actually, Barney does not want Gunnar to spoil everything by going on this sensitive mission. Instead, what Bernie wanted was to return from the mission and bring him the Gunnar's share of the money. Still, they would not take him on the mission. The next day, as planned, Bernie and Lee took their private jet to the island. As soon as they landed at the island's port, the army there came and took them away. However, Lee and Bernie introduced themselves as wild photographers and said that they had come to take videos of the beautiful animals of the island. There, they presented themselves in a very simple way, but the visa officer from the front and 2 senior officers from the back kept observing both of them thoroughly. Along with this, the security guards there were also monitoring their body language and movements through the CCTV cameras installed above, because they did not look like wild photographers in any way. Before they could be caught red-handed, the visa officer finally allowed them to enter the island and approved their visas. On the other hand, we see Gunnar inside the plane that Barney and Lee landed on the island. That means he also came here secretly and will definitely leave with something to disaster. As soon as they get out on the road, Barney and Lee fall in front of the army. Lee, with his camera, started capturing the movements of the army secretly. Here they get to see the king of that island, James Monroe, who is being escorted to his home with a army protocol. From there, when they reached at a hotel, they saw there the only daughter of the army general of that island, whose name is Sandra. She comes here and says, "I know why are you here, and I also seen that you captured James Monroe's picture secretly." Then Sandra says, "I want this island to be a free and independent island, because the kinfee of this island, James Monroe, keep torturing and injustice on the local people. I will help you here in any situation." In the next scene, we see James Monroe with his bodyguards visiting a field. He tells his general, "This time I have 10 tons of goods less. So next time you will have to give me 25 tons of goods more as capital, with these 10 tons plus interest. In fact, this guy James Monroe used to cultivate cocaine on this beautiful island, and he exported them to the outside world at double the price. And he used his own army to further monitor the land of ordinary people in this cocaine cultivation. Meanwhile, Sandra, Bernie, and Lee were talking about this and brought them to the place where these cocaine were cultivated. Along with all this, Sandra also told them one of the most important things. That is, this James Monroe is not a local, he is an American. And he came to this island from America just 10 years ago and established his kingdom. However, while they were talking, suddenly a patrol team from James's army arrived there, and seeing Sandra in the same place in the field with these foreigners, they realized that Sandra might have told them everything. So they took Sandra hostage and kept telling her, no matter how much of a general's daughter you are, if you do wrong, you will be killed too. Seeing all this, Lee's head got hot. However, he controlled his anger and told the soldiers to let Sandra go. However, when the soldiers tried to run after Sandra, he could not control his anger and threw his knife at one of them. And seeing this scene, Bernie could not keep quiet anymore. He also started firing. Meanwhile, Lee alone started cutting everyone with his knife and laying them down. You know very well what a terrible person this bald man is. In just a few minutes, the two of them killed 7 or 8 soldiers there and laid them on the ground, and quickly started heading towards their plane with Sandra. However, in the middle of the road, Sandra said she will not leave her beautiful village. In the middle of the road, she made a change in plan, and Bernie said Lee should somehow take Sandra on the plane. As a result, he drove alone to the other side to distract the soldiers. After Bernie left, Sandra continued to insist in the same way. At one point, he ran away from Lee and ran away. Now, the people Lee and Bernie killed were not ordinary people, they were the army itself. So, to save his life, Lee got on the plane alone, and finally started the plane. Meanwhile, Bernie turned around and ran towards his plane again, fooling the soldiers. However, a group of soldiers from this island started running after him. At the very last stage, Bernie was able to grab the door of his plane, and he finally got on the plane. After getting on the plane, Bernie learned that Sandra had stayed on the island. Now Bernie realizes that if the army finds Sandra, they will definitely kill her. So he tells Lee to turn the plane around again. Bernie says, let's go. Let's explain to the guys before we go that we are not ordinary people. Lee hands over the steering wheel of the plane to Bernie, and he moves to the sunroof of the plane. This time he starts firing at the soldiers from the sunroof with his machine gun. Not only that, he makes a second U-turn and sprays oil from the plane's fuel tank on the soldiers. And Lee takes out the gun in his hand and fires at the oil. As a result, a huge explosion occurs and a group of soldiers are killed there. Meanwhile, the king of the island, James Monroe, captures his army general and tells him what Sandra did to them is treason. So even if she is his daughter, she must die now. So he orders the general to capture his daughter and kill her in front of him. When the general leaves, James Monroe is confronted by Bernie and Lee's friend Gunner. Seeing him, Monroe's terrible bodyguards surround him. However, Gunner says, I know you have the biggest necks now, Bernie and Lee, who just killed one of your platoon soldiers and escaped. And I can take that neck of yours down. I mean, Gunner is going to do serious injustice to her team here. After hearing him, James Monroe takes Gunner to his team. Meanwhile, after returning to his country, Bernie first starts to find every single information of the man who gave them this mission. Here, Bernie learns that the man named Mr. Cars is not a businessman, but a CIA agent. And the biggest twist of this is that the one they went to the island to kill, that is James Monroe, was himself a CIA agent. However, James Monroe leaves America one day, and he betrayed the CIA department and used all their secrets to establish his own island government. And for this reason, Mr. Cars wants to kill James Monroe. But now the question is, why does Mr. Cars want the assassins to kill James Monroe? If he wanted, he could have killed James Monroe himself with the CIA agents of his department. Actually, here Mr. Cars has played everyone with his sharp intelligence. What? You don't understand? Wait, let me explain. If a CIA agent kills their own agents, then people's trust in the CIA will be lost. Also, the CIA has been waiting for the assassins of this expendable team to kill them for a long time. But they could not do anything to these assassins. So Mr. Cars uses his intelligence and wants to kill James Monroe with the assassins. And he wants to legally arrest this entire assassin team for killing a CIA agent. When Bernie told everyone in the team about this whole master plan, they were completely shocked. As a result, Bernie dropped this mission here and stopped all communication with Mr. Cars. And at the same time, everyone in the assassin team was sent to different places until the environment was normal, so that no CIA agent could easily reach them. When the situation arose, we see that Lee came to his girlfriend's house again to spend his free time. But this time he found that his girlfriend had been beaten by her husband and ruined her face. This time Lee picked up his girlfriend and took her to her husband. Without saying anything, he started playing him completely. He killed each one and cut them into pieces, and gave his girlfriend's husband a last-time warning. He said that those who raise their hands in this video are not heroes, but cowards. But Lee did not kill him on life, but he takes his girlfriend with him and leaves from there. On the other hand, on that island we see James Monroe starting a massive operation like a devil hunt on the entire island with his adopted army. And finally they capture Sandra and bring her before James Monroe. He tells Sandra that what you have done is treason, and the punishment for treason is death. So he orders his army to torture Sandra extensively and kill her after extracting information from her. As a result, the army takes Sandra away on his order, and they start severely abusing and torturing her. However, even after all this torture, Sandra does not say anything with her mouth. Here the general was standing in front of him and watching this story with his own eyes. I mean, do you understand the matter? Such torture is going on in front of his own daughter, in front of her father. Seeing all this, the general leaves there in anger and rage. However, when they realize that if Sandra is beaten further, she may die, this time they stop the torture. On the other hand, we see Barney telling his friends that he wants to go to the island again, and he wants to bring Sandra back alive. Now no one agrees after hearing this. Lee says that the girl is very stubborn, she will die herself and drown you too. But when no one was willing to go, Barney says that he will go to the island alone and bring Sandra back. In fact, Barney has already fallen in love with Sandra. Now, understanding this story, Lee tells him that he will also go with him. We will see what happens later. It is said that friends love. When they reach the area on the island again, their old teammate Gunner attacks them unexpectedly. However, Barney manages to protect himself by handling this attack. At one point, they enter a factory while doing shooting. However, Gunner comes there and starts harassing them. Now, when Barney realizes that Gunner has after them and is doing too much, he forgets his kindness and shoots Gunner from behind. However, at this time, it is seen that Gunner was still alive. Actually, Barney had shot Gunner in the upper part of his shoulder. Barney now tells Gunner, "Gunner, I have already deposited your share of money in the hospital for your daughter's treatment. Along with this, I have also given my share and Lee's share of money for your daughter, so that she can live a good life after recovery. And you have forgotten that you are our friend." Hearing Barney's words, Gunner realizes his mistake and apologizes to Barney for his mistake. On the other hand, it is seen that the Army General James is trying to incite his army against Monroe. Meanwhile, the assassin team comes and surrounds Monroe's palace. Understanding the environment, they all slowly start entering the palace and start setting bombs in the main places. Meanwhile, the army general keeps telling his army, "This fascist came from America and oppressed us in our own country. Today you all unite and crush its rule here." But at that time, James Monroe comes there and he hears all these words of the general. Seeing this story, James Monroe, without saying anything, shoots the general in the chest and kills him. In fact, 90% of the soldiers in this army were Monroe's own people. Therefore, it is clear that they will not go against Monroe in any way. After killing the general, some army now goes to Sandra. They start sexually harassing Sandra. But at that time, Bernie comes there, and he first cuts off one of the hands, and then cuts off the other's head, and finally saves Sandra. But while he is escaping from there, many more soldiers arrive and hit Sandra and Bernie, and take them hostage. In a short while, all the terrible bodyguards of Monroe arrive there. They come and catch one of Sandra, and another comes and wraps a rope around Bernie's neck and tries to stop his breathing. Meanwhile, when the rest of the assassin team outside realizes that Bernie is not coming back, Lee says, "There must be a catch inside." As a result, Lee slowly comes in and sees that they really have wrapped a rope around one of Bernie's necks, and the other is beating him severely. Seeing this, the blood rushes to Lee's head, and he starts a wild fight in his style. He starts chopping everyone up by himself. He cuts off some of their hands, punches some of their stomachs. He frees Bernie. And Bernie, having just escaped, now also started a hard fight. The two of them started such a rampage that they started shooting and cutting everyone with knives. As soon as they went out after making everyone lie down, they saw that thousands of soldiers were standing in front of the main door with their weapons loaded. And as soon as they saw them, heavy firing started on them. Thousands of soldiers were firing on them so much that taking one step forward meant that they would definitely be crushed. As a result, for the final game, Lee shouted to Bernie, "Come on, blow up the whole building." Hearing Lee's words, Bernie pressed the remote in his hand, and the bombs they had planted blasted one by one, and the whole building blew up in the blink of an eye. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they moved around and started blowing everyone up one by one. Suddenly, Bernie saw James Monroe taking Sandra hostage and running away from there. But when they start moving towards Monroe, more of Monroe's bodyguards come and jump on Bernie and Lee. But these bodyguards don't know what terrible assassins they are. Lee and Bernie kill everyone alone. At one point, it is seen that a helicopter is being prepared for Monroe, and if he gets on the helicopter with Sandra, he will not be able to save Sandra again. So Lee fires a mortar shell at the helicopter's rotor, and Bernie shoots along the mortar shell, destroying Monroe's entire helicopter in a terrible explosion. When James Monroe realizes that there are no other bodyguards standing around alive, this time he puts gun on Sandra's head to save himself. Monroe tells Bernie to turn down his gun, otherwise he will blow Sandra's head off. As a result, Bernie is forced to turn down his gun, and at this opportunity, Monroe shoots Bernie in the chest one after another. However, when Bernie gets up again, Monroe will go to shoot again. Before that, Bernie says, "I have no problem with you. You can just leave Sandra and leave here quietly." Monroe says, "Then this is the main reason for all the trouble, right?" He says this to shoot Sandra. He pointed his gun on Sandra's head. At that moment, a knife comes from behind and enters Monroe's chest. And at the same time, Bernie picks up his gun and shoots Monroe in the chest. This time it is seen that Lee stabbed him from behind. Along with Lee's knife and Bernie's firing has ended the regime of the dictator James Monroe. In the last scene of the movie, we learn that Bernie tells Sandra about his love, and he leaves Sandra here to reorganize this country to fulfill Sandra's dream. He says that he will return to Sandra very soon after completing a task. Back in America, they are seen as the assassin team, all reunited and preparing themselves for a new mission. And with this scene, this movie ends here. There are a total of 4 movies in this Expendables series, and none is less than the other. If you like this video, then I will appear on this channel with the explanation of the remaining 3 movies. Since the channel is completely new, I request you to subscribe. You will get the explanation of all the mind-blowing action thriller and new movies on this channel. We are seeing another deadly movie explanation video very soon. Until then, stay well, stay healthy, thank you.